Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back. I'm going to go ahead at this point, every once in a while I'll let you know kind of where we stand against real world levels, because I did show in a previous episode that on the title page I'm able to see. So we are now about a third of the way, or 25% of the way, through level 3 in reality. Furthest I've ever gotten a profile, I think, is to I don't even know that I got to level 50. I know I got to level 40 because I think that was like a requirement for some achievement or something. It was like the first profile I ever built and just did standard ATS and nothing else and just drove the heck out of it and got there. So I'll be curious where we'll be at when we hit level 40 in this mod's leveling system. So I'm going to go ahead and take this job. It's hard to beat, $1.64 a mile, so it's 143 miles. But we're going to take scrapped cars, and I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the added loads. There's probably a lot of them. But the most important thing is we're going to drive through that little dot. And that dot is called Wheatland, so I know that is a ATS map expansion location. So unfortunately, it seems like I can't get away from articulated trailers for, and maybe they're always going to be a little bit more, and that's going to give me a higher piece per mile. But I'm going to take this one this time, and again, we'll see what things turn into later. All right, so one thing I had shared was it's going to be very difficult to sleep because all jobs are pretty tight here. So we will be driving pretty much constantly, and time will be what it'll be. So we'll see what we can do with that. What I may be able to do as I think about it now is, maybe stay, kind of move west throughout the day. That'll obviously change the time zone as far as where I pick things, and then come back east as early as possible to minimize the darkness. But once again, we're in the fall, and it's going to be dark. All right, so we got a Peterbilt this time. We're going to want to just check everything out, especially at night here. We're going to want to make sure things are pretty good. So there are our scrapped cars. They're wrapped in netting, which is good. We won't have things falling around. But yeah, it's a double. We've got our side lights. We've got the brake lights on the dolly there. Everything looks pretty solid. Again, we're in Wyoming. So squeeze through the container here. And again, we've got brake lights there. Everything looks pretty good. So I'd say we're ready to go. So let's get ourselves in gear, and it looks like we got to go to the right. Assuming we're pulling out from under something. I didn't really look up, but there was a weird shadow that came over me. So we'll go under this container picker-upper. I'm sure that's not what it's called, but you know what I mean. Now this does look like it could be a normal delivery point for SES just on the map, but I think where we're going is not, and certainly, as I said, passing through this town of Wheatland, or location of Wheatland, will be a first. So we'll have a few firsts for a while, and then we'll have hundreds of repetitions as we go through. So this series, my intent is every moment I'm doing anything in it, I'm recording. So there will be a lot. Interesting, probably because they'd get sued. They do have the logo, but they call it Coffee Break. I'm guessing, like other companies would be happy to be in Trucking Simulator, but Starbucks, maybe they were worried about, they're not going to want it. Because yes, I'm sure they've not paid licensing to all these other companies, but they're just there as buildings, and there's nothing bad going on. We're delivering to them and things.
Left,
so
and then turn left
At 11 o'clock in a little town in Wyoming, yes, maybe the only thing you would see is the fire truck. So I did find the realistic physics mod that I have used or had downloaded. I don't know that I used it more than like trying to load it one time and never really used it. It's no longer on the Steam Workshop. It's the mod from Serial Black, and I did find a post or a comment from him somewhere that it's just available on a website. So I did find it, and in theory, I could use it. I'm just worried that's going to make things far more difficult than I need them to be. I don't know. I'm thinking at some point I will introduce that into the series, and so maybe if I ever get to a point where I'm feeling like this is getting really, really dull, you know, maybe that could be something I could do. Let's introduce something new and crazy, and then we'll probably start crashing everywhere. But and that would be bad. I don't want to crash anywhere. So again, yes, I'm swinging out past that bus because I don't want to hook the bus. Yellowstone Avenue, or Highway, Yellowstone Highway, East Yellowstone Highway is what that sign says. Hopefully you're watching it on a big enough screen that you can see that. But yeah, we're going to Western Metal. So, looking forward to it. So, one of the things, and this may be an ongoing conversation through multiple deliveries and so forth, but one of the longtime viewers, this is the first commenter on one of the videos in this series. At this point, there are only 2 episodes that are actually public right now, even though this is episode 7 that we're filming, but this still is just 2 days, so less than 48 hours in real time from when I've started doing this. So, obviously not a lot of opportunity for people to comment, but I'm not of a size yet that I get a whole lot of comments anyway. But they're a regular commenter on my truck sim videos. They, you know, mainly, well, they do watch. They do watch both, but they tend to do more American Truck Simulator. And they've recently obtained the game themselves. Before, when they started watching these videos on my channel, they did not own the game yet, but they have since gotten it. And so one of the pieces of feedback was they have found the videos less interesting just because they can explore on their own in the game now, which I certainly can understand. Oh, whoa, what's that? Like, is that just a tree coming up from the bottom? Is that a mistake, or is that like some kind of incident we can have? Wow, that was crazy. All right. I mean, it could just be a tree coming up through the roadway, which is not great either, but that scared me because I was watching my engine and it was doing some weird things. And, yeah, then, whoops, oh, I see, because I'm slowing down, so it's probably engine braking on me, or Jake brake, as some people would like to call it. So, we got a Love's down there. But let's go back to the story that I think I could talk about probably for hours, so we'll see. I mean, we're going to have hundreds of hours that we're going to be able to put into this series, so we'll have plenty of opportunity. But I'm going to go ahead, get myself sped up. Just interesting that I can go, in theory, 80. Is that really the truck speed? I do have truck speed selected, but it's just if I do start doing World of Trucks jobs later, they're going to limit me to 65, so I don't know that I'm necessarily going to go any faster than that, because as I've said before, this is going to be such a vast undertaking, and it takes such an immense amount of time that it's not really going to matter if we can zip through things faster or not. But anyway, so there's less interest to this individual about just watching them necessarily, but they still enjoy, as they've put it, the conversation and then speaking to each other in the comments that we've done. So I'm hoping that that means, and you know, I've responded to their comments. I try to respond to all comments, so feel free. You know, if you're like, oh, he'll never notice it. Again, I'm a small enough channel, I'll absolutely notice it. My intent is, regardless of how big I get, to keep up with it as long as I can, and I'm pretty sure I can keep up with it longer than most. Wheatland was on the sign, which is cool, because I didn't know. I mean, again, maybe those are just dynamic. That is an interesting board. I think that's an ATS map expansion, because that flag, that shredded flag, is, and so, you know, because this may be a road that they put on here, for all I know, so maybe that's why there's a distance on the sign. This may not even be a road that exists in the SCS map. I'm not sure, because you would think they'd just put some towns on and make some towns visible that weren't there before or whatever, and just put them on existing roads. That would be the easiest way to do it. But hey, if they went so far as to create roadways and things, it's not like I can say there's a lot going on around here. I don't know that there is. But returning to the conversation, that's going to be the challenge. Like, there are going to be things I see on the road that are going to catch my eye, and obviously that's part of the fun of these kind of series, is just enjoying what we see, like trees in the middle of the road or coming up through the road or whatever was happening there. Luckily, it didn't become a collision of any sort. But yes, they responded as I had asked in the first few videos, and as I will always ask is, well, let me know. I mean, is this a series type you enjoy or whatever? Just so I know. But the reality is kind of starting to settle in. I don't see a big difference between this or any other type of series as far as what you're seeing in the majority of it. Sure, what we talk about is going to be about the extreme economy and so forth. And I did indicate in my comment that I think some of his pushback was not necessarily fair yet, because he said in Farming Simulator he tried hard economy, but like one time out of maybe a dozen playthroughs on different maps, and just found that it was not something he really liked. But the hard economy is not really a mod per se in most cases. I'm assuming it just meant he went, of the 3 difficulty choices, he went to the top level, and yes, it lowers crop prices and it does other things, but aside from that, the game is the same. And so you said, you know, there's not a big, personally, that there's not a whole lot of interest for him in doing a difficult economy. And to be fair, I think that's what I focused on a lot in that first episode that he saw and so forth. But I talked about, I think in the 5th episode, but I don't know, it was one of the ones that were more recent. Toward the end, I was explaining that a mod of this complexity would not be possible in something like a farming simulator. And of course I had not seen, okay, so there's Wheatland, but we're not discovering it, so interesting. So it's not going to give it to us, I don't think. Wow, even though it looked like we were driving through it, it has a trigger point that requires you to get off. Alright, oh well. That's fair. So we're either going to have to deliver to Wheatland or intentionally come to Wheatland and then look for a load. You know, those are things we can do as well. Although, again, with a quick job, we really can't, because we don't have a truck that we can utilize. Sorry, I had to clear my throat and did not want to make you sick, so I turned off the head tracking.
Right. And then exit right.
Whoop. Alright. It's probably right here. Right, but it's good to know
Right.
we then cannot discover the roadway even though or the city even though we drive through it. We probably have to exit. So, interesting. But again, probably fair to not make it too simple. It's like, hey, if you're not going to go there, you're not going to get credit for it. So yeah, I shared with him kind of my concern and thoughts of what I had said, and obviously he wouldn't have had the opportunity to see them because the episode that I talked about this isn't available yet publicly. So I just know I talked about it, and I encouraged him that hopefully he'll watch, we'll keep having comments and so forth. But what that led me to think is, as I learn more, but even before I learn a whole lot more, because I think I have an understanding of what this mod will do, so apologize, I've got a little tickle in the throat again. Alright, he really got me stuck. I had to fully stop. I was like, really? Well, anyway, let me go to the right. Because he's going slow, and I'll probably have to turn left at this T intersection. But it basically led me to think, this will be a wonderful forum to really delve into the benefits of a sim like this that is around for 10 plus years in one format, and what that means for the complexity and the depth of mods that can be built. Now, let's be frank and honest with armchair, I was going to say armchair truck simulator, American Truck Simulator. I don't know why armchair popped in my head, but that was the words that were going to come out, and they did, just so you know what happens when I'm just, again, that'll be the fun of the commentary in this series. It's absolutely just going to be whatever the heck hits my head as we're going. So, and I know a lot of people enjoy that, so hopefully this will appeal to folks, and this will grow, because I am definitely getting more and more committed to doing this, and really am enjoying it every time I step in here. And yes, I've stepped in here now 7 times in 2 days. So it definitely has become a bit of do every moment I can. But yeah, I think they've expanded a lot of Cheyenne here with the mod. Because I don't know that there were there were certainly streets in any city, but there just seems to be a lot more here.
And then go straight.
Oh, okay. Like, I can't turn here, so you can tell me keep right and turn right, but... Ooh. Yeah, this is definitely not an SCS road, because you can see we're going to turn left, then turn right, and then basically come in a way that we could have just gone straight. But, again, popping into my head in the spur of the moment, really my focus was going to be more the realistic economy mod. And I think that's the challenge to the poster who put it in there. If they hadn't done any research on it, even though I explained what it was, I went through a lot of the detail, read what they had about it, they may or may not have listened to that or really thought about what I was saying there. There's a lot more to creating a realistic economy than simply lowering the prices and increasing the XP to just mimic how you would have to proceed in the slow, methodical progress of a career trucker. And I don't know that I've really got into a lot of that, so that's what we're going to use as material to talk about for a bit, till we exhaust it, and, I'm sure I'll have new ideas at some point. Right, it looks like... Okay, I think I see it. It's over there. Alright, so we need to go here. I was worried I didn't see the white line in the back, because I think I've determined that's kind of the back, where, you know, there's others that come out a different way. But, I was like, do I have to turn around or something? But no, we did not. Alright. Whoops. So I think I went too far, because it was green for a moment. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to turn that off so the beeper goes off. Got to put our parking brake on. And we'll get out here, get over to the landing gear near the handle, and let's crank her down. So there we go. We have delivered. So we're going to continue this conversation as we go. I don't want to extend episodes for any unneeded reason. And again, knowing that we're just going to have things we're running, there's no reason to do that. But we finally cleared 10%. So let's, we'll leave that there and just say, you know, we're going to continue talking more on that topic till another topic comes to mind. But we are sitting there making progress. Obviously, we're going to keep probably having some loads in the evenings. So, you know, at this point, if I moved west, I'm going to make the problem worse. So, yes, I can go east a little bit and get into the central time zone, so I can gain an hour, but we're still at 1:41 a.m. It'll be 2:41 a.m. But if I have something that's, you know, 4 or 5 hours, which I don't think I will, because, again, my limit is 250 miles when you start out. But 3 hours, you know, from 2:41, it's, you know, it's going to get me to 5:41, but it is the fall, so the sun's probably still not really going to be rising, but it could be getting a little bit brighter. So I may give that a shot for the next job, and we'll go ahead from there. But as always, if you've enjoyed this, and I hope you do, and I hope to see many, many of you along for the ride here, please consider liking and subscribing to get some more eyeballs on these things out and about in the YouTube world. It's greatly appreciated, and I will see you next time.